We're starting a new project called Grades. This is for Standard 4. We're going to be focusing on variables, declaring variables, and making assignment statements to those variables. I'm going to start off with a new Windows Forms application. We're going to give it a descriptive name. We're going to call it, well, I'm going to call it s04, s04, and grades. Okay, let's go ahead and pin the toolbox. And we are going to put on this, we're going to put on some labels and some text boxes and a button. Now guys, please remember, and some of you guys have been doing this in the classroom, and it's understandable at this point, but please get into the habit. We only use a text box when we're trying to get information from the user. Is it horrible to use a text box to display information? No, it's not horrible, but it allows the program user access to that information as far as being able to change it. What we want to use the text box for is to get information from the user, and we're going to be doing that for 3 instances. So we're going to be getting Q1 average, a Q2 average, and a final exam grade from the program user. Now to do this, we're going to want to prompt the user, so we're going to have some labels for the prompts, 3 text boxes receive that information, and then a label to display our final grade to the user, and of course underneath that a button. So that's going to be 4 labels, 3 text boxes, and a button. So let's go with the labels first. 4 labels and 3 text boxes and 1 button. Okay, now I can unpin the toolbox. Bring the button down. Label 4 is going to be underneath here to display everything. Label 3 is going to be for the 3rd text box. Label 2, 2nd, and so on. Okay. Let's go ahead and let's see. We got it pretty much organized where we want no big changes, but let's go ahead and change some properties around, and then we'll see what they're going to look like. For label 1, let's go ahead, and this is going to be a prompt. LBL prompt, and what is this going to prompt? This is going to be for Q1. And what am I going to say to the, let's see, enter your Q1 average. Now, we know I don't need a text box that big. That should be good enough for the text. Well, that should be plenty. All right, for the second prompt. LBL prompt 2. And what are we going to put? Oh, let's see. Let's keep it consistent. What do we name the first one? Q1. So this is going to be Q2. Okay, and label 3 is prompt 3 for the final exam. Now let's position these a little bit better. All right, and this one here, I want this one to be sized a little differently. Let's turn the auto size off. that will allow us to change the size of this. And I'm actually going to change the border style. Part of the reason I'm doing this, I want you guys to have the practice for doing this sort of thing. Once you get used to where the properties are, and make your interface look a little bit nicer. And let's align the text in the center. Middle center. Alright, and let's actually change the font size. Let's change some more properties. From an 8, let's change it to a 12. Bold. We'll keep if you want to go in here and just get some practice. I'm just going to leave it at that. All right, and the button. Let's go ahead. Let's center that button. Let's see. Center and form horizontally. Bring it up a little bit. But you know what? I'm going to change the size of this. So I'm going to have to redo that. Now let's center and form horizontal. That's better. BTN. What are we going to name that? Show grade. BTN. Show grade. And for the text property, your grade. Let's get rid of the text there. And let's get that form 1 out of there. We're going to put grades. Now, we are not going to change the name property. We're going to change the text property to grades. All right, now we're ready to write some code. And we're going to have one click event procedure, and that click event procedure is going to take the information from the text boxes and assign them to variables. And before we do that, let's make sure that we've adjusted all the properties on our form, such as the name property, because we're going to be referring to these in the program code. So a quick way to look at that is come over here and drop down the list. And we never changed it for label 4. We never changed it for our text boxes. So you know what? We're really not finished yet. Let's do that quickly. And label 4 is going to be LBL display. Our text box, TXT quarter 1, TXT quarter 2, and TXT final exam. Now let's see if we have everything. Button, form 1, label, text box 3. Looks like we didn't take text box 3. Why not? I did not hit enter. There we go. Now it's taking it. All right, now I think we can go and write some code. It's going to be a click event for our button. Okay, and let's assign the variables for quarter 1. First off, what's our data type going to be for grade? It's going to be a number, numerical or non-numerical. It's going to be numerical. It's going to be a whole number, a real number. It's going to be a real number. Is it going to be more than 7 digits? No. So we're going to use a single data type. We're going to go SNG Q1 single. SNG Q2. Okay, now we're going to see a different way to do this. Notice that I have 3 variables, all of the same data type. Instead of using this on 3 different lines, I'm going to show you an alternative way to write this. So let's go back and do this a little differently. I'm going to separate them. We'll call SNG quarter 1, comma, SNG quarter 2, comma, SNG, actually not quarter 3, final exam. And I can get rid of those. So this is how you can declare multiple variables on the exact same line, on the same line, as long as they're the same data type. Now let's assign values to those. SNG quarter 1 is going to be assigned the value from the text box. Now, as long as the user cooperates and puts in the right values, this is going to work fine. Later on in Standard 5, actually in the next standard, we're going to get at looking how we can make this even stronger to anticipate or to protect it against invalid input by the program user. So right now, we're going to eventually come back to this, but right now this is how we're going to do it. So what we want to do is we want to display a calculation. And the calculation is going to be displayed inside of the label display. And it is going to be assigned, let's see, we need to do our calculations here. SNG quarter 1 times 0.4 plus SNG quarter 2 times 0.4, it's 40%, and the final exam is 20%. That should equal 100%. So let's test this out and see if it works. So let's say I got an 80, an 80, and an 80. Will that equal 80%? That does. Let's change one part of this. Let's say I've got a 90. Okay. Well, we know the first 9 weeks, the first quarter is going to be a lot easier than the second quarter. So let's say you got a 95, and then you got an 85, and then you got a 90. Your grade is a 90. Okay, this looks like we've got everything in here. The only other thing we could do, we can make it look a little bit nicer. We could have centered or right aligned this information here. You can make it look nice however you want to make it look nice, but this is your walkthrough and demonstration for your grades project. Let me know if you need some help. Call me over and I will be able to help you.